This video is sponsored by Wabi Cycles. To learn how to get the most fun out of your bike in 180 seconds or less, check out me and Wabi's video series 3 Minute Thursday by clicking the card above, and check out Wabi Cycles linked in the description. Home, it's a complicated word. Is this house that I grew up in home? Is Sacramento my home? Where I was born, where I've known my friends since the 7th grade, where most of my family lives, where I have family that's buried. Because if that's what defines home, I've never really felt at home in my home. But after living in 4 countries over the past 3 years, I've learned a bit more about what home means. And I feel like I'm one step closer to finding home for myself. And through my experience, I hope that you can be one step closer to finding your home too. People from Sacramento have a complicated relationship with Sacramento because it's home to us. It's where we're from, it's where we've lived, it's where our friends and our families are. But if we're being honest, a lot of times we kind of hate it. Sacramento is a second-tier city to the bone. 2.4 million people that live in beige cookie-cutter houses, shop at one of 7 Walmarts or 3 Costcos, and take the 8-hour drive to Disneyland every other summer. People from the Bay Area often look down on us as less cultured and less intelligent. People from the Sierra Nevada mountains look down on us as coddled suburbanites, and people from anywhere else never think about us. Sometimes I feel like Sacramento holds me back. People don't do great things here. We're not known for much of anything here. Despite being in California, we don't have a beach, we don't have pristine mountains, but what we do have is one of the worst basketball teams in the NBA. Sacramento is a place for complacency. The city that always sleeps, where nothing ever changes. We are exceptionally average. It's so stagnant here that I'm convinced living in Sacramento was a big contributing factor to my depression. If you don't know this already, I used to suffer from depression and thoughts of suicide. I used to take antidepressants every day and see a therapist just to feel normal. Don't worry, I'm fine now, and luckily I don't have to take drugs just to feel okay anymore. And a big reason for that is that I left Sacramento. So in 2019, to feel more alive, I left to go travel around Asia. I lived in Taiwan and Thailand and visited a bunch more countries. And in late 2020, I had to come back for a bit due to a shared, terrible, and unforeseen circumstances that shall not be named. But then in 2021, I left again to go live in Mexico. Just the possibility of something interesting happening to me makes me feel more at ease, more at home. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not feeling great. I think I come down with a cold. I've been sleeping upwards of 12 to 13 hours. Like any sane person, rewind. Today, here in Mexico, is Dia de Muertos, Day of the Dead. It's supposedly the biggest tradition here in Mexico. People celebrating the lives of their relatives. Instead of resting, I will be going for a 70-kilometer ride. It's about 40 freedom miles. Why do I do this to myself? Buenas noches. How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm a little sleepy, but the ride will wake me up. I do this to myself because I feel most at home when I'm on my bike. It doesn't matter if we're complete strangers, it doesn't matter if our cultures are completely different, it doesn't matter if we even speak the same language. As long as we can ride bikes together, we're always welcome, we'll always be friends, we'll always understand each other. Biking together is just this universal language where you can always come home. As I biked through Mexico City on Dia de Muertos with my old friends that I met anywhere between 1 month and 3 minutes ago, I contemplated where my home is. Dia de Muertos is a Mexican tradition where the living celebrate the return of their loved ones' souls, a day where the dead come back home. So when I die, where will my soul return to? To Sacramento? To wherever I'm buried? To the side of the road where that truck didn't see me biking? It's a weird feeling because as long as I have my bike, I feel like I can make anywhere my home. But at the same time, it feels like nowhere is truly my home.
I want to take a picture with you.
Okay.
Like a Boy Scout. Ay, por eso que estoy cagando. Ya. Eso.
Okay. nice to meet you. Mucho gusto. Bye. All right.
Mister.
Nice, Zach.
Good night. It was nice riding with you again.
You too.
All right. Have a good night.
I love you.
Bye. Things are different now. Even if just a little bit, because in 2019 I left my hometown of Sacramento to go travel around Asia for about 2 years. And during that time I wasn't homesick at all. Now it's 2021. I've been homesick pretty much the entire time that I've been here in Mexico City, about 3 months. And things are a little different now because back in January of this year, my family and I, we adopted a dog, Seymour. And I miss that boy dearly. Never really got homesick because whenever I'm home, whatever that means, I've always felt like tearing my hair out. So whenever I left Sacramento to go somewhere else, I always felt more at home in these places. I still don't exactly feel at home in Sacramento, but I feel like I may be a little closer. My friends that I've been riding with here asked me if I wanted to bring anything home for the family. And there's just one thing in particular. What's up? Alright, so where are we going?
We're going to downtown Mexico downtown.
Okay.
To look for your poncho.
My dog's poncho.
Some might say that I'm a loner, but I just call it being free. I am my heart's only owner, or at least I used to be.
¿A tu baby?
Ya va a poner un perrito.
Ah, bueno, pues de todos modos su bebé. Yo también tengo una bebé. Que Dios te bendiga. Gracias, que tengas un buen día. ¿Sale?
Like the time and the match that drew a spark.
How are you? I'm good.
I don't know what it is. For years I've kept my feelings grounded.
I'm home. Yeah, I'm home. Do you like your poncho, Seymour? He likes my hand. I've missed you too, buddy.
Cause now that ain't love. I don't know what it is.
He doesn't like it. Before I left Mexico, Tona, my riding buddy, and I had a talk about home because he was gearing up to make a big move and completely uproot himself from Mexico, from everything and everybody that he knows and loves, to try to make a better life for himself in Texas. He said something that I really took to heart. Your hometown doesn't have to be your home. I realize that home is such a complicated word because it's not just a place. Home is where you want to dedicate yourself. Whether it's a place you love to be, a thing you love to do, or the people, or the person, that you love. Home isn't where you get what you want, but it's where you give what you have. In college, I studied communication. We have a saying in our department that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And I realized that I hate Sacramento so much because I love it so much. I want it so badly to be a great Tier 1 city full of inspiring people that are changing the world. An exciting place of progress, a place to be proud of, a place that's a destination rather than just a place that people pass through to get to the snow or get to the beach. I wanted Sac to be something that's not, and that's why I never really felt at home in my hometown. But after coming back from living in Mexico City, for the first time in my life, I started to feel a little bit more at home in my hometown. I started to accept it for what it is, rather than what I wanted it to be, and I started to love it a whole lot more. Mexico City is the largest city in North America. Imagine Los Angeles, and then you take another Los Angeles, stack it on top of it, and then move it up way into the mountains where Big Bear is, or where Tahoe is for you fellow Northern Californians. While I absolutely love Mexico City for its welcoming people and its inspiring and creative atmosphere, it is a relentless place to live. Tona, who's a biologist, said that being in Mexico City's air pollution does the equivalent damage to your health as smoking 40 cigarettes per day. And I felt it. I was always out of breath. I would wake up with asthma attacks, and I would feel just so gassed by the time that I got out of the shower, and all I would want to do was go back to bed. Coming back to Sacramento was a literal breath of fresh air. When I landed at Sac International, all I could think of was how easy it was to breathe and how the air smelled like pine trees. I was seeing my hometown with fresh eyes. Instead of the concrete stacked on concrete accented with concretes that I saw in Mexico City, I saw these big, wide, open spaces to ride, hell, to run. Instead of a claustrophobic, smoggy brown, the sky was big and brilliant and blue. Instead of cars honking at people for just trying to cross the damn street, I heard birds singing and I saw them flittering between the trees. It's like, what'd you think? It's amazing. This place can support life. Also, trees? Those are nice. For the first time in my life, I thought Sacramento was genuinely beautiful. This is what made me feel alive, and it felt good to be home. People from Sac often complain that nothing ever happens in Sac, but when a lot of the world seems like it's going to hell in the handbasket left and right, sometimes holding the line is progress, and that's what Sacramento has to offer.
All right, yo, everyone, thank you for coming out. Yo, we got people from all over the Bay, Sacramento, everywhere in between. Yo, thank you guys for coming out. Yo, where's Andron at? Andron.
I have it today.
Andron! No Andron, but if you don't, if you're new here, thank Andron for letting us pull up the belly trap. So let's have a good ride today.
Patrick Fixie King is another one of those Sacramento souls that got fed up with his hometown and had the same frustrations as I did, or at least that's what I'm assuming now because he currently lives in San Francisco, and one doesn't simply move from Sacramento to San Francisco because the rent is cheaper. People think San Francisco is a great city. The Golden Gate Bridge, the Gold Rush, the 49ers, Levi's, MASH, and Macaframa, hordes of homeless people, and human feces in the street. It's great. And when people think of Sacramento, they think, Sacramento? Where's that? But while on Patrick's ride that he hosted in Sac, I realized that this town deserves a lot more credit than people give it, myself included. They say that Fixie is a tiny niche in cycling, but here we were, in a back alley that our favorite Fixie shop calls home, 120 Fixie riders strong in what people call a second-tier city, coming together to just ride bikes and have a damn good time. I met a lot of really cool people on that ride. Some people from the Bay Area, bless their hearts, mentioned that I should come out and join their rides, or even host my own rides out in the Bay Area. While they had good intentions, it did sting a little bit. And for the first time in my life, I was offended on behalf of Sacramento. Because the subtext to them saying, hey, you should come out and host your rides in the Bay Area, is that Sacramento isn't good enough to come out to. Because even though it's my ride, I should be the one to drive 4 to 5 hours round trip to a town that I don't know, where I don't know anybody, where I won't be riding with my friends, because the implication is, the Bay Area is better than Sacramento, so you should come to the Bay Area. But if that were true, all you Bay Area people would stop moving to Sac and jacking up the rent. While traveling, I learned that while you're hopping between countries every few months, you experience a lot of breadth at the expense of depth. And I realized that staying put in a place for a long time allows you to create depth that makes that place feel more like home. In the wise words of this century's greatest philosopher, Mariah Carey, love takes time. I've lived the majority of my life here in Elk Grove, a suburb of already suburban Sacramento. But that day on Patrick Fixie King's ride, it dawned on me that Sacramento has this really great fixed gear scene. Not just Sacramento, but also Elk Grove. This little sleepy suburb has a great fixed gear scene. I met 6 fixed gear riders from this little 170,000 person town on that ride alone. While I was living in all these different countries and experiencing all these different things, I was turning my back to the great things that I could have been experiencing right here, with an entire fixed gear community just hiding right under my nose. Seriously guys, I am out here riding my bike every day. I have not run into a single one of you guys in Elk Grove while out on my rides. Where the heck are you? If you're in Elk Grove, I want you to know that we have a mad sleeper fixed gear scene here. It takes breadth to know what you want. It takes depth to get what you want, but it takes both to know what you have to give. There's a quote that I really like from novelist George Moore. If you've never heard of him, don't worry, because I haven't either until I was looking up inspirational quotes for this video. In 1916, he wrote, "A man travels the world over in search of what he needs and returns home to find it. To make my hometown feel more like home, I started hosting a group ride every Friday right here in Elk Grove, not even Sacramento, California, every Friday at 5 a.m. Because 1, that's a convenient time for me, and if I'm gonna show up to my own group ride, it needs to be as convenient for me as possible. 2, look, I'm gonna sound so basic right now, but like, sunrises, they're kind of the shit. And 3, I know that the only people that will show up to this ride are the most dedicated riders in this town. Those are the people that know how to get shit done, and those are the people that I want to surround myself with." What an ungodly time to go for a bike ride. And it is my first group ride in this brutally early morning bike ride series, and I am already regretting my decision. But you know what? I'm a morning person, and I'm even like, yo, this is really early, dude. I'm expecting somewhere between 0 people to 3 people at most. I'm usually a people person, which is why I'm hosting these rides. But I am so tired this morning. I'm kind of hoping that nobody shows up just so I can ride by myself and not have to like be a host or whatever and like talk to people. I don't want to. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, Zach.
Oh! What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Chris, nice to meet you.
Hey, nice. Hey, Chris, I'm Zach.
Zach?
Yeah.
I figured as much. Zach?
That's me.
How you been?
I'm doing alright. Hey, Case, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Good to see you.
I will admit, first time riding my bike since September.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah. Oh no, good morning.
Morning.
How you doing? Cold as hell.
We'll warm up. What's your name, by the way?
I'm Jericho.
Jericho. Nice to meet you. I'm Zach.
Case.
On the first week, 3 people showed up. Phenomenal. But on the second week, 5 whole riders showed up to come ride fixed gears together and watch the sunrise. Blowing way past my expectations that I ever had for this ride. One of them even woke up at 2 a.m. and drove out from the Bay Area. So take that, Bay Area elitists. Although I don't exactly have a place to call home, I will always feel at home when I'm on my bike. And from here, my hometown's only going to feel more like home. Fixie's famous shoutouts to Julian Corona, David K, Robbie Andaya, Zane Kolnick, Brandon Black, and Scott Palongi for helping to make these videos possible through the support on Patreon. And remember, that life is short, but don't make it shorter. So, give yourself a healthy dose of home, ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.